How's it going, guys? We are live. Welcome to the Baxter Riches podcast. I'm Zach Ginn, your host. I quitted my minimum wage backlog job to pursue the riches of real estate investing at the age of 17 and never looked back. I'm here to educate and inform entrepreneurs, young and old, how to become complete real estate investors by talking to the best and most influential minds of real estate. I've gotten direct messages, guys. I've pumped you guys up for this guest for way too long. He is here, Mr. TTP himself, Brent Daniels. Brent is a real estate investor, wholesaler, and one of the most successful wholesaling coaches in America. Brent's TTP program has helped thousands of investors achieve financial freedom by using the simple concept of just talking to people. And most importantly, Brent is a husband and a father out of Phoenix, Arizona. How's it going today, Brent?
Let's go, Zach. I'm doing excellent. I'm excited. I'm excited to be on your show. I love the energy. I love that intro. You put some work into it. I love it. Most people are like, nah, here's this guy. So that's awesome. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been in the real estate business since 2004, right out of college, and thought that when you got into real estate, you had to get your real estate license and become a real estate agent and understand all the terms and the lingo and the process. I felt very shaky in the beginning because I didn't know what earnest money was or escrow or anything really. And so I kind of grew up in the brokerage world for a couple years. I was fortunate to be able to have a lot of family. I've got a big family here in Phoenix. So I was able to do a lot of real estate deals during 04 and 05 and 06, which was like, it was just bananas everywhere in the country. And then at 25 years old, I made the decision because I thought that I was a millionaire. I had the big watch. I had a lot of employees. I had a lot of things going on that I'd open up my own brokerage. And then I would sign a 10-year lease for an office space that was huge. It was like 7,000 square feet office space. I was pumped. I was like, I'm like a prodigy. I'm like a boy genius. I'm so incredible. I take home like $150,000 a year type of thing, and signed the dotted line in January of 08. By the time fall came around, by August, September, October, the economic world melted, and I was slapped with a $742,000 judgment months later, obviously, because if you do not pay your office lease, Zach, what they do is they sue you. And that's what happened to me. And so I was really in the hole. The economic world had changed. I got out of the routine of actually hustling and being out there and being proactive, and had to relearn some things that was naturally inside me, but also so I had to really push beyond what I was comfortable with to be able to scratch and claw and get out of there. So I wanted to start right in there with the story so that we don't have to spend too much time on me, but more on some really good questions and some really good instruction for your audience, for anybody watching live or watching this later. So that's kind of what got me into figuring out what wholesaling was. I was totally in the hole. If you listen to me, if you guys are watching this and you are starting at $0 or you're just new to this and you're feeling like you're a little naive or you're a little unsure or whatever else, I owned this company $742,000. Okay. I wasn't starting at zero, I was starting way in the hole. So with that, I was able to climb out through this wholesaling business. That's why wholesaling or sourcing deals is the most incredible business that I've ever been a part of, and love it, and love talking about it and getting on and sharing it with the world, because there's plenty of deals out there to find.
Yes, man. I am so pumped for this one, man. I've been hyping it up. I finally reached the last person of the wholesale hotline we've got on this podcast. I got Pace on, I got Jamil. I knew I had to get the last guy on here, and that is you. Super excited. And now I'm on the next journey of getting all the wholesaling coaches on. So audience, watch out, because they're all coming on and we're getting it going. So you said your wholesaling story. I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah.
But just the question I have here is, you started out, I don't think a lot of people understand or know maybe your story here, but You were a Division I football athlete. Am I correct?
Yep. Yeah, I played. I mean, let's not get crazy here. I'm only 5'9", so I played at the Northern Arizona University, which at the time was a 1AA school. It was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun and an excellent experience, and love it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. So I was used to working with the team. I was used to doing things outside. Growing up, Zach, I had options. My parents said either you play sports after school or you get a job. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep playing sports because that seems a lot of fun. So I played football, basketball, and track. That was my year. Boom, 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 boom. And I've never had a job. I've literally never had a job. I've never worked anywhere. I've never gotten a paycheck. I've never filed taxes as an employee, anything like that. So it was an interesting way to grow up, but it was a lot of fun and really supportive family, loving family, and they allowed me to do as much as I could athletically until my senior year of college.
No knock on that. Trust me, football at the college level, it's a tough one. I've talked to many athletes and I've seen them become very successful. And that's why I think a lot of people need to understand your background on this too. I mean, how was your time playing football there at Northern Arizona University help cultivate your skills today into wholesaling?
Well, the thing that you have to realize is when you come from high school to a university, unless you're just like some sort of superstar athlete, or you're bigger, or you're faster, you're stronger than anybody else, which I wasn't. You got to really work at it. You got to really be dedicated to it. You really got to show up. You really got to. It can't be. You have to harden yourself in your mind, and then catch that up with everything that's going on athletically. So, I think that it was, it was just something that's always been there. You know what I mean? I don't think that it was anything that really was shocking. I learned how to just be able to start at the bottom of the totem pole as a freshman and really get up to the point where I was starting and playing all the time. So, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, if you go and you're loud and you are just, you've got a big motor, life works out better for you. I really do think that.
100%. I mean, I got to ask this question off the bat. I mean, this is a $1 million question. You sell a wholesaling course, but if you could sell a course on this, I think it would do even better. Where do you get your energy and confidence from?
I love this. You know what I mean? This stuff gives me energy. See, I made a choice, and I think this is something that everybody has to really look at. People talk about time management. People talk about priority management. Not enough people talk about energy management. And it took me a while to get to this point, but at this point, I only do things that give me energy. I don't do anything that drains me of energy. If it starts draining me of energy, I'm going to find somebody either to take that over, or I'm just not going to do it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I don't like a lot of drama. I don't like a lot of, being controversial. Not that I am, but just like all that stuff that kind of comes along when you do have an audience where you can really go out and try to, like, I don't know, give your views on every single thing. I think that's silly. I think it's too much energy. It drains you. And I think I look for opportunities to get energized in the daily basis. So something like this, making content for YouTube, coaching the students, taking a call from students, welcoming students into the program, whatever, working with my wholesale company, getting a deal, looking at a deal. These things give me energy. The other stuff, the drama stuff in my life, I totally block out, and it allows me to have a reservoir of energy that maybe some other people can't, because they just can't figure out how to manage their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into here. I want to help people out. So guys, again, if you have any questions or comments, comment them below. We'll pop it on. We'll help you out. Again, this is all for value. I think a quote from one of your mentors, Bob Berg, says something very similar to the value that you get in the marketplace. I'm butchering this. The value you have is you get paid for the value you bring to the marketplace. So that is what we're trying to do. And that is all we want to do, guys.
Your income is equal to the value you provide humankind or your community or whatever. That's your income. If you want to make $100,000 this year, provide $100,000 worth of value. I don't care what it is. Just figure that out. If you want to make $1 million in real estate, you got to figure out a way to make $1 million, provide $1 million worth of value. It's a simple equation, but it's the absolute truth. This isn't like a theory. These are facts. That's how it works.
Okay. So here's the question here. I mean, if you look at a chart at the prices of real estate in Maricopa County or in St. Lucie County, where I am, from 2010 to now, I'm from 2018, you can see the prices have just been shooting up.
Yep.
I mean, you're a real estate coach. You've helped thousands of people, and you're helping these people steer their ships. Right now, we could see in the future, there's a storm coming. There's an eviction crisis. There's so much unknown. Okay. What can wholesalers now that are scared? They don't understand these uncharted waters. We don't know where we're going to be in the next couple of years.
Sure.
What are you helping your students out in the future with these uncertain times?
I have been hearing this conversation for the last 6 years, Zach. It's going to be the student loan crisis. It's going to be the people are going to give back all their cars. It's going to be the auto loan crisis. They're getting too wacky. It's going to be wild, crazy inflation that's going to sink the ship. It's going to be, the prices are too high now. It's going to price people out of the market. Oh, interest rates are too low. They can't be this way forever. There is always going to be something. So here's the thing. In a good market or a bad market, do we still have to talk to people? Do we still have to have quality conversations with distressed property owners to be successful?
Of course.
The answer is yes. The answer is of course. It's absolutely. So what are we worried about? If we build the skills now of being able to have those quality conversations with distressed property owners, build up an incredible database of cash buyers that are going to buy, whether it's a downturn or it's going crazy, you know what I mean? Then what do we have to worry about? The only thing that we worry about is outside influences telling us there's a crisis. Outside influence. More millionaires were made in Maricopa County during the downturn last time than ever before. I am telling you. I mean, just absolutely incredible wealth explosion happened once the market went down. Obviously, a lot of people like myself got caught in the tornado of that and was really affected negatively. But you learn from it and you see what's going on. So my advice to people is you have to have consistent quality conversations with distressed property owners. And there's only 3 ways to do that. You could do it by marketing to them and have them call you. You can do it by getting referrals by somebody that they know or an agent or somebody that's in the business or whatever else, other wholesalers. Or 3, you can go out, be proactive every single day and talk to people. You can go out and either pick up the phone and call them, or you can go out and knock on their door. Either way, it's really inexpensive and you keep the most and you're in the driver's seat. So that's really what I push, Zach. That's what I really, I've seen it time and time again. That's why I have more testimonials than anybody else, is because of the simple facts. If you are proactive, you control your schedule, you control your priorities, you control your energy. And that's the biggest thing. When you are waiting around, anxiously awaiting for people to call you and enter your life and say, help me, you are going to spend a lot of energy. It's going to be darker outside. There's going to be more things that come at you. You're going to be feeling pressure all the time that people that are proactive don't feel. That is facts.
100%. I could not agree more than that. I mean, just talking to people has been a game changer in my business. Rapport has been the biggest game changer here. I mean, the secret's out. Everyone knows, like, TTP works. Your program works. You have a lot of followers. You have just a ferocious audience that just very loyal to you. And everyone uses your free scripts. I mean, the secret's out here. Everyone is cold calling. Everyone has basically taken your free script and now they're cold calling. What would you tell to the person that has to deal with these motivated sellers? I'm to a T. I sometimes get on these lists from the rentals that I own. They're using your free script, like just word for word. I mean, how does a person differentiate themselves from the other people that are using your script?
Doesn't matter. It's timing in the other person's life. It's timing. They could have had 15 calls and they weren't ready to sell, but something happened in their life. They're getting a divorce. They just inherited a property. Their tenants just burned down the kitchen. I mean, there's a ton of different things that happen. Life events happen all the time. So it's really about the timing of it, and it's about your tone and your pacing. Are you somebody that's just going straight at them like a robot, or are you somebody that sounds engaging like a neighbor or a friend? Are you somebody that is going to pass the buck to some Filipino cold callers that have no experience, have no market knowledge, have no real estate knowledge, have nothing, maybe a little bit of experience, or are you going to do the work yourself? That's the problem. People think, oh, Brent, you told everybody about it. Everybody's doing cold calling. No. Not everybody's doing cold calling. Do you know the percentage of people that do the cold calling themselves is like 10%? Everybody else wants to hire somebody to do it, and it ends up not working because they don't have the training, they don't have the skills, they don't have the consistency, they don't have the experience, and then all of a sudden people, stop doing it and start sending mail or something. So my advice to everybody, if you are going to take it seriously and be proactive in your business, is you need to talk to at least a minimum, not call, not dial. You need to talk to at least 1,000 people, 1,000 distressed property owners or owners of property. If you do that, if you make that the challenge in your life, I am telling you, it bleeds to the rest of your life. You will be able to talk to anybody about anything forever. It is in your brain now. You've got over the fear of strangers. You've gotten over the fear of fumbling and stumbling over what you're going to say. And now you are able to communicate effectively, and you learn it by doing it. And, the quickest way to do that is pick up the phone and talk to strangers about whether or not they want an offer on their property.
100%. 1,000 people is, I would say, is the minimum. It's just like working out. Obviously, we could tell you work out a lot. I like to work out. It's a muscle. If you stop working out, it gets weaker, but that 1,000 is so important. Couldn't agree more here.
Well, and here's the thing. This is something that's been running through my head. I was thinking about this before we did the interview because I see a lot, it's really interesting. You see people get in and they're talented and they're incredible and they start crushing and they start getting deals and they start making income. And that's like getting that income, getting that checks is like going to the gym or exercising or running. That's your exercising. But the issue is on the other side, they go into debt on all sorts of things. And that's like that's like eating McDonald's and fast food and terrible stuff and pounding 18 beers every single night. But you still work out. But I still work out. Look at all this money I'm making. I still work out. But now you're putting in all this terrible stuff. You're not going to see the results that you want from a financial freedom side, a freedom of schedule side. If you have debts that you have to pay. My suggestion is if you're going to be going to the gym, if you're going to be getting that income coming in, pay off all personal debts. Get out of financial slavery. Okay? Because most people, their whole lives, pay a third of their year to interest payments. Guess where the other third goes? Taxes. Okay, whether that be retail tax or property taxes or just regular old income tax. Now you're at 66. You have to live off of 33% of your income. Come on now, player. Pay off your debts. Get out of there before you start investing in anything. I don't care if it's gold or stocks or property or anything. Get out of personal debt.
Definitely 100%. I don't know the specific quote here, but I know it's in the Bible somewhere where the debt is the slave to the borrower.
Of course.
It's 100%. I live by that. I'm debt free. I don't think I've ever had debt ever, but 100% agree with that.
How old are you, Zach?
I'm 20.
20 years old. My goodness, man, you are a rock star. This is incredible. I mean, you're on a rocket ship, brother. Keep it going. This is what I'm talking about. It's being loud, right? It's being loud. It's being out there. It's providing that value. It's and that gets said all the time that it almost becomes cliche, but it's really out there serving and trying to. You've prepared for this. You've reached out. We're here. We're doing it. You're so impressive. I mean, for anybody that is watching this, that is in your age group or in that 20s, I mean, really watch what Zach's doing here. He's a perfect example of being loud, being certain, being likable, being humble. You're incredible, man. I love this.
I'm telling you, right now is the greatest time to be a wholesaler, in my opinion. People say,
Yeah.
"Oh, back in 2000." Brent, a question for you here: when you started wholesaling,
Yeah.
was there a nice, handsome man in Phoenix, Arizona, giving away free cold calling scripts?
No. Well, I started, I really cut my teeth knocking doors because I was totally broke. And at the time, I mean, this is 2013, 14. There wasn't anything. I mean, there was skip tracing, but you had to have like some sort of license to get it. I mean, they'd come into your office, they'd make sure that you had lockable file cabinets and doors, and they'd want to know what you were doing with it and how you were doing it. But fortunately, my real estate brokerage at the time was doing a lot of short sales. And to reach out to those pre-foreclosures, they got an account with LexisNexis, which had all the data from the credit reports, which is where most of these skip tracing companies get their data, is from the actual credit reports. And so I didn't realize that at the time. So I was door knocking and going out and doing all that. And then finally I got to a door and somebody, the gal answered the door and she said, "I don't want to sell, but I'm the caretaker for the neighbor down the street. Let me call her and ask her if if you can reach out to her because she is interested in selling it." I said, "Okay, great." She came back with a slip of paper with a name and a phone number. And my life has changed. My life absolutely has changed because listen, all you need is a name, address, phone number, and you can be successful in this business if you call enough people and if they're in distress. Remember, if we filter this thing out from every property that's in your market down to the 6 to 10%, listen to me, everybody, 6 to 10% across the nation, it depends where you're at, what market you're in, is in distress, okay? So those are the people that you want to go after. It's not the people that can put it on the market. It's not your aunt or your uncle or your family or your parents or you. We're talking about the 6 to 10% of people that are in distress for whatever reason. There's a million different reasons why. That's who we reach out to. That's who we get accurate phone numbers for. That's who we build our skills having conversations with. And I am telling you, nobody has proven to me that if you have enough quality conversations with those people, with distressed property owners, that you can't be successful.
100%. I mean, having those conversations, it's easier said than done. I believe one of the toughest things for most new people is one of the most important words in the English language in wholesaling, and that's action. Mm-hmm. What does the word action mean to you and for you and your students?
Well, here's the thing. Anybody that comes into the TTP family, they've already got that motor, right? They've already got it in their brain that they want to be proactive, that they're not, that they might be afraid of making calls, but they're not going to let them stop. It's not going to let them, it's not going to stop them from being able to be in action, to be able to get going and to start building the momentum. But with anything, I mean, listen, you can get as educated as you want. You can know the whole process. But unless you have the right instruction, unless you have a map and a guide, then, you can kind of find your way. If you take enough action, you could do this by yourself 100%. It's just, I work with the people that want to skip ahead 3 to 5 years. You know what I mean? That's what I work with. Those are the people that, they understand the value of mentorship and coaching, and they all have my phone number and they all have access to me. So when it comes to the action comes down to how many hours did you call? How many conversations did you have? How many leads did you get? How many contracts did you get from that? And how many closings? And what's your average that you make per closing? And so that's what we're talking about with action. It is very extremely, Zach, trackable. And when it's trackable, it can be improved. And when it's trackable, guess what? I can come down with the hammer and keep you accountable because it's trackable. It's data. There's no emotion to it, right? It's not something that is just in the ether. This is real hard data. It's easy to look at. It's easy to understand. It's easy to review. And if you do that, you can pick apart where you're weak in this business. And in wholesaling or in any real estate investing, there's 3 parts: lead generation, conversion, and exit strategy. That's it. So where are you the most weak? And then you can start picking apart your business. And over 6 to 12 to 18 to 24 months, all of a sudden you're a different business professional. You're a different real estate investor or entrepreneur. And you're able to do that because it's easy to track the numbers. And if you do that, that's the biggest difference between amateurs and pros, is tracking the numbers.
Yes, KPIs are everything in this business. You should see our Google spreadsheet. It's insane. It's literally crazy. I mean, you've had so much success recently with just your TTP helping people out. Was there one specific instance or student testimonial that really had the largest impact on you?
They all do. I mean, everybody has their own story, from being a felon to closing a $175,000 deal last month, right? To being a stay-at-home mom, to closing 7 deals over 6 months and completely changing their lives. You know what I mean? I mean, to single out anybody, I think, would detract from everybody else's success. So, I mean, these are the things. I get texts every single day, Zach, of checks. They're posted in our private Facebook group of people getting checks. We have what's called the 50K club that I push everybody to get into the 50K club, which means a net bottom line, $50,000 deposited into their account from a deal that they did. Because I am telling you right now, and to the audience and to anybody that watches this, once you do a deal that's over $50,000 net and that hits your account, the chemistry in your brain, the chemicals going on, the wrinkles in your brain are changed. They are absolutely changed forever. Now, the things that you thought were impossible are now possible. You know, I used to drive around, Zach, and I used to look at these like gigantic mansions, 7,000, 10,000, 15,000 square feet. And I was like, who owns these? What did they do? Did they invent the Band-Aid or something? Did they invent toothpaste? Who are these like unbelievable people? And now I can buy any house here. You know what I mean? Like, it's just taking those steps, those steps from, making your first deal where before you even get going, you got to get that first deal, because what that does is that takes you across the bridge of faith, which you believe you can do this business. You believe you can make money. You see other people doing it. They're not better or stronger or faster or more handsome or have more connections than you. You can do it. I have faith. I can do it. And then you cross that bridge, brother, until a fact. And I don't care if you make $1 or $50,000 your first deal. Once you make income from this business, you know you can do it again. It changes from faith to fact. And when that happens, you are off and running.
100%. I think you made a pretty good point there where, I mean, you're driving around those mansions. It's no secret. You make millions of dollars in your wholesale business. I mean, your coaching business is very good. I mean, there's a trap I see with a lot of these successful guys is like, you see all this money's coming in for you and you stay to the ground. You don't have this massive ego. You're here to help. You're a true giver. I mean, how do you stay so, I guess, humble? And how do you just keep going, like tunnel vision, just helping people without that ego creeping in?
Well, it did. I mean, the ego creeped in early in my 20s and it destroyed me and it turned me into somebody that I didn't want to be. And it really set me back far. And I understood then, I understood that I wasn't the person that I wanted to be. So I just made changes. And those changes are, and the fact is, I never want to retire. I never want to stop. I never want to keep going. I never want to keep, giving instruction to people that need it. And so I'm the happiest guy ever. Right. So, and it helps when you don't, get into debt to buy things. I buy all my rental properties cash. And as you know, our price point in Port St. Lucie and in Phoenix, our average properties are, 200 to 300,000, and that's buying them cash. So it's just not sitting on a lot of cash, putting them into some assets, putting them into, giving it to private money lenders to lend out and getting a percentage there. So, it just doesn't, it's just every day being excited to be out there and doing this thing and be energized by it. So I think that's it. People come from different backgrounds. People come from different situations. People have different wives. People have different family and parents and all these things that, something, being ego or being top or being, whatever is valued. So I don't disrespect them or anybody that wants to do that, guy or gal. But I just like rolling and having fun and keeping the energy for what I love to do, which is real estate deals and coaching people on how to do real estate deals.
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is not really a question. This is an observation that really helped me out. I was 17. I mean, I made my first six figures before high school, and I really just literally YouTube galore. But I mean, one thing that you've really helped me with, I mean, I used to do 6-hour cold calling days in my dorm in college. And the only thing that pushed me through that was, I mean, I have huge chips on my shoulder, but you said something very interesting that really just changed my mind on cold calling. And that was, think about what your average deal is and think about how many calls it takes to get that deal and just say how much you get paid per phone. It game changer for me.
Yep.
That I have to say, I hats off to you. That I don't know if you're the first person that said that, but you said that it changed the game when I was 18.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you heard it. A lot of people hear it and don't like implement it. But honestly, it really is. I mean, how much? I mean, by the time when I was at my peak, before I started hiring people, acquisition managers, lead manager, and cold callers, I was making $2,500 an hour that I'd call. It was fish in a barrel. You know what I mean? And it wasn't because it wasn't competitive. It wasn't because other people weren't calling. My skills had built up to that point. You know what I mean? And you could build it to that point. Who else gets paid that much? I tell all of my people in the TTP family, hey, listen, like you need to imagine when you're making calls that I'm standing there with you in your living room, in your bedroom, in your car, during lunch, if you're working or driving or whatever else. And every hour that you make calls, I hand you $1,000 cash. Boom, $1,000 cash. Boom. I said, I mean, if I was literally standing there giving you $1,000 an hour, I would have to tear you off the phone every day, right? People would try to do 100 hours in a week. They'd go bananas. They'd go absolutely crazy. But that's the reality of this. People are doing that every single day of the week. It's just staying consistent with it. It's getting through that first tough part, that first 90 days of pushing, where you're building up your pipeline. You're feeling insecure. You're feeling doubt. You're feeling all these distractions and everything else. And you're trying to become a new person. And that's really what it is. Really what it is are you motivated or are you inspired? If you're inspired, you're going to stick with it. If you're motivated, you could get motivated by a lot of things. I mean, life motivates you in all sorts of different ways and in different parts of your life. So are you inspired to be a real estate entrepreneur? Are you inspired to source the best deals in your market? Are you inspired to get on the phone to try to reach out in your community and help the people that can't help themselves? That's a big difference. That's where you really start making strides. That's when you really start heating up and taking off and building that momentum in your business.
100%, guys. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we are going to help the people in a quick Q&A,
Let's go.
guys. So when I get this question up, I'm going to, if you want to do me a favor, guys, comment below the questions you got, and the best ones will get going here. So question here for you, Brent, is what is the biggest mindset shift of the difference between $1 million a year wholesaler like you and the wholesaler making $50,000, $60,000, $100,000? What's the biggest difference in mindset between them?
I'll tell you, it's a mindset, but it's also a skill. And that is people are unprepared for leadership. They truly are. They're unprepared for leadership. They think that because you are LeBron James, that all of a sudden you can also be the owner of the Lakers. And that's a big difference. It's a huge difference. Okay. And so people, I think you really have to understand and have that self-awareness that says, hey, listen, do I want to be a really highly paid professional, or do I want to be an entrepreneur? And that was the crossroads, Zach, that I was at, was do I just want to keep running and getting this $2,500 an hour, right? And making calls and staying into it and staying with my routine, or do I want to be a business owner and a leader? And what you'll quickly find is that the people that you hire don't work for you. You work for them. You need to take that extreme ownership, which is a fantastic book, by the way, extreme ownership, and understand that you are the rainmaker. If there is not enough opportunities for success for your company, it is your fault. And I don't think a lot of people are prepared for that. I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I certainly don't think a lot of people that naturally come into this business with some sales background, but not leadership background, understand what that takes. So what I would say is you got to turn off all the music in your car. You got to turn off everything except for really great podcasts, really great Audible. You need to be reading every single day. You need to be obsessed with leadership, or you're going to get into a position where you've got a company account that all the money goes into, but that you don't take money out of. And all of a sudden you start running all that money out, hiring all these people without any leadership, without any vision, without any ownership of the success that they're going to have. And all of a sudden it goes down, and now you're back on the phones again. So I think that's the biggest thing is that you need to understand what leadership is, and that people don't work for you. You work for them, and have them start taking over the things that drain you of the energy so that you can keep growing the company, so that you can bring in the right people, so that you can make sure the processes are clean, so that you can make sure that you're building up your business, you're building up bigger deals, you're looking, you know what I mean? And then from there, you're off and running. But that's the biggest mind shift change that I see that people don't really, it really sneaks up on them is they just don't understand how to be a leader in a company.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I think it's very important, guys. Shut off the CNN, shut off the Fox News, pick up a book, and just, a wise man once said, plunge your brain. I 100% agree with that.
That's it.
Guys, just getting the mindset. That's why I'm here. I'm getting the mindset of people like Brent. So first question we got here for you, man, is I wonder why the buy and hold version so he wants to know, I wonder what the buy and hold version is of the 50K club.
We don't go into it. You know, I talk first off, Gems Real Estate. I want them to pay off their debts first, and that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, because a lot of people have mortgages, and I'm talking about the mortgage too. So that's step number one. And then from there, I would also, buying real estate and finding these opportunities, they're sourcing the deals themselves. So they're already walking in with equity. So I think people mostly just cherry pick the properties that are most convenient to them. A lot of them just do that because they love the deals and they want to own a portfolio or have a portfolio. But most people don't understand that having a portfolio is another business. So I don't suggest that with people off the bat that are building up their wholesale business. I suggest that they get as much income in as they can so that they can pay off their debts and then start buying assets. Because once your debts are paid off, it's like you're in junior high again. It's like you're running with your parents' money. I mean, it's so incredible. It's such a relief, and you're not worried. You're not working from a position of stress. You're working from a position of true passion and optimism, and just like you're bulletproof. You know what I mean? Leverage, ladies, and liquor. Those are the three things that Warren Buffett said destroy most entrepreneurs.
100% here. I mean,
and I feel like for the ladies, men, I guess. Yeah.
Men. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you have the Wholesale Hotline. You got Wholesaling podcast. I think you made a Dave Ramsey podcast. I think it'd be pretty popular too. I mean, you know money pretty well. So I guess a comment here. The GOAT. Guess that's awesome. You. I mean, okay. So question here is from Chris. So Chris says one of the best markets in all the two continents of America. All right.
Except for every single real estate coach is within 5 miles of me.
Oh my God.
All of them.
It's insane.
All of them.
It's literally insane.
All of them. Literally everybody comes out of Phoenix. It's really crazy. But I think that there's a lot of great markets. I think that maybe if you're in a smaller market, it's going to be tougher to expand your business, but you can do this business virtually and build that up as well. So I mean, I don't think you're landlocked. So
I 100% agree. Even wholesaling in coach Lauren Hardy, she's probably one of the hardest markets, and she's doing so good virtually. Guys, you don't have wherever you live. You can live in Costa Rica, make it here. I mean, so a question here from Life Shaman says, when should I quit my job wholesaling?
So I'm not sure if it's when should I quit my job to start wholesaling, or if it is when should I quit trying to wholesale, right? I never think you should quit trying to wholesale. Might sound silly, but if you really are inspired to be a real estate wholesaler, then just talk to enough people and you're successful. That's literally it. You could talk to real estate agents. You could talk to other wholesalers, help them sell the deals. You could talk to, obviously, all the distressed property owners. I mean, you could talk to a ton of different people. I've got a whole game plan on my YouTube channel or talktopeople.com. I mean, you get all the resources you could ever need to be successful there for free. I mean, you could keep it at that. And just download free stuff and just get going with it. You know what I mean? And so I don't think that it's going to be a self-awareness thing. Make sure you understand who you are and if you want to be in this business. If not, then quit. Go on to something else. That's fine. But if it's, I would at least have 6 months of income of expenses saved up before you quit your job.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Quick note here. Talktopeople.com. If you want to get a hold of Brent, get a hold of his free content. He's got really good stuff. Check it out and just really get into it. Question here is from All Money in Investing. Says, what is your favorite book?
Go Giver, right here. Hold on. So Go Giver, I give this out to everybody. What I will tell you is it's got all the principles in there. It's a beautiful story, and it is super easy to read. So I read this book every week for a year in 2016, maybe 17. It all jumbles down, but I read it 52 times in a year. My income, no, it was in 16, and my income went from 250,000 to over 700,000. Reading that, keeping that in mind, and it really changed the whole perspective. Anything that Rabbi Daniel Lapin, hold on, let me see if I can get this right, is incredible. He wrote a book called Thou Shall Prosper. Absolute must read for everybody. Absolutely incredible. And the third book that I'll give you guys is called The Financial Matrix. The Financial Matrix, and that'll make more sense on why I'm so adamant on paying off debts first. So those are the top three. I'm sure. I mean, I've got a million of them. So yeah, those are three must reads for sure.
Okay, so last couple questions here. So from Lupe, still hunting on my first deal. How would I find specific buyers, high-end buyers, or just the buy as in buy and hold? I have contracts, but I have no buyers buying them.
Lupe, there's a lot here. Not to keep pushing them over there. But on my YouTube channel, I have 3 videos that will literally break this all down to you on how to sell it and do that. But basically, if you're going to be working with high-end buyers, what I would do is I would reach out to high-end real estate agents that are working in those areas that are either representing flips, properties that have been totally renovated. You can tell they're staged, they're beautiful. You can tell somebody's not living there, they're vacant. So you want to look for the agents, the real estate agents that are representing those in the area that you lock up a deal. And then from there, you're just building up and you adopt their buyers if that's possible. Some of them want to just run it through the real estate agent. Some of them want to just work with you individually and just get more and more deals. So that would be the easiest way to have it. I have contracts, but I have no buyers for them. I'd be interested to know what market you're in, and then might be able to help you out there. But yeah.
Wow.
Just reach out to people. Just reach out to the people that are already doing flips in the area.
Yes, definitely. So last couple questions here. So the Q&A is over here, guys. Comment below anything. If Brent provided any value for you guys, please comment below right now and just let us know how much of an impact he's had on you guys. So question I have here is, you're in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm going through the gauntlet of Phoenix. I think I've gotten everyone except for maybe 2 people. But I mean, you guys are such in a close-knit community, wholesale hotline, huge mill. You have such a great just network of just friends and colleagues in there. I mean, how can people in Westchester, West Virginia, how can people like that squat up and be with like-minded, success-oriented people?
You have to serve somebody first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You need to either bring them a deal or help them do their lead follow-up or work around them or refer them somebody that's amazing, like a escrow officer or a attorney or a tax, a CPA, a tax advisor of some sort, or a financial or whatever it is. You need to serve them first. Serve as many people as you can in that tight-knit community. I mean, if you look, there's 350 million Americans. How many of us want to be wholesalers? Like 10,000? Let's say it's 10,000. Let's say it's 100,000. That's a fraction of a fraction. We are a small group. We need to squat up. We need to love each other, respect each other. This isn't competition. This is collaboration for sure. And that term gets thrown around a lot too, but it's the absolute truth. There's not many people like us. We're crazy. We've got a different wiring. We found this somehow. I always find that so interesting how people found real estate investing and then the niche of real estate investing, which is wholesaling. It's incredible. You're a special person if you're watching this or if you're interested. It's just you're a special person. You're not like everybody else that has no interest in reading and studying and growing and being in real estate and changing, their financial future. You're somebody special. So treat people that way, treat the other people in your market that way, and serve them and see how you can provide value and serve them. And then everything falls into place from there. People will start to like you, respect you. And especially if you're out there hustling, here's the other part of it. You can't just be the guy that's like, oh, I got all these great referrals and you don't do any real estate deals. Right? That'll only get you so far, and that'll usually keep you with the people that are either front row or in the outskirts of any of these meetups or any of these groups or any of these social gatherings that talk everything but never do anything. If you're in action, you're going to find other people that are in action, and then if you're serving them, that's the two-prong approach, and you're off and running. I mean, you're unstoppable at that point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Brent, as we get to the end here of this interview here, I mean, You've had thousands of students, millions of dollars in fees. You just complete success. You have a beautiful family, the #1 podcast in wholesaling. I think #2 for Wholesale Hotline. I'm not 100% sure, but it's one of the top ones. I mean, just full of success. I mean, what would you tell the Brent Daniels of 2007 with a $700,000 judgment, broke, looking for answers? What would the Brent Daniels sitting here today tell him?
Well, listen, I tell myself it every single day. I wear it on my shirt every single day. It is a very simple business philosophy, and it's the absolute truth. And it's almost a command. It's talk to people. That's it. There's not a day that should go by that you're not talking to somebody about real estate. There shouldn't be a day that goes by that you don't take and time block and make it sacred time. 1 hour a day if your schedule's tight, 2, 3, as much as you can to have conversations, quality conversations about real estate every single day. That's what was lacking, Zach, was I stopped talking to people. I thought I was too great for talking to people. I thought it was too great to go on appointments. I thought, I'm going to open up this brokerage and I'm going to start doing investing stuff and I'm going to do all this crazy stuff. And I just stopped getting on the phones, and that's when everything, started to really deteriorate. And from there, I learned that as long as I'm constantly talking, this. Zach is talking to people. The podcast is talking to people. YouTube is talking to people. All these things is talking to people. But now I just have the opportunity to talk to thousands as opposed to just one person on the phone. So it's all talking to people. It really is. And that's it's simple. We try to overcomplicate everything, and we try our best to not talk to people. We put up so many barriers. We hallucinate so many thoughts. We have all these things that are, we're stiff arming conversations, and that's fine because those conversations are going to go to somebody like me. We're going to get those opportunities and we're going to run with it. But if you're open and listen, I don't care if you're an introvert. I don't care if you're scared to death of the phone. I don't care if you hate rejection. I don't care if you need to change. Simply put, you need to change, or I don't know, find and create an app or do something else or whatever else. But if you're in the real estate business, if you want to be a successful real estate entrepreneur, successful at sourcing real estate opportunities, you need to be somebody that talks to people every single day.
Yes, I'm so pumped for that. Like, guys, if you don't watch the end of this and you're done and you don't go on the phone and cold call for 10 hours, there's something wrong with you. I have so much energy right now. This is awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you on next year. I mean, what are your goals for 2020? What are the rest of your goals, and what are your goals before you come back here in another year?
It's interesting. When I look at the goals now, it's just I'm looking to, number one, I'm looking to get the students that I have as successful and as quickly as possible. So we're constantly, of course, that's the canned answer, but we're constantly refining what we're doing in our program so that people can get to deals faster, get to the success faster, get out of their jobs faster, that type of thing. So that's number one. Number two is just be consistent. Consistently be putting out content, consistently be available to people, consistently be have energy and get sleep and do all these things. Right now, I'm just, I don't really set financial goals. I used to try to get out of it, where we're going and what we're doing. But now it's just kind of in my head where I want to go, and I'm just enjoying the process. I think that we get caught up and discouraged a lot because we set these goals, and if we're not doing things and not getting them, then all of a sudden we stop doing anything. So it sounds crazy, but I'm not an analytical, as you guys can understand. I'm ringing the bell. I'm loud. I'm going. I'm smiling all the time. I'm an expressive personality. So organization, all that stuff, all these, analytical type thoughts or driver type things that I need to win, they're just not part of me. They're a part of a lot of people in our industry that you've interviewed, and they're incredible people. It's just not me. I have enough self-awareness to understand what I'm good at, and that's being loud. That is trying to change people's perspective of what they need to do to be successful in this business. And when they do, they become successful. So that's my goal. My goal is to be the most successful real estate coach on planet Earth. And that's what I'm working towards.
Boom. Thank you so much for coming on. I have to ask you the last question. I ask every single guest this at the end here. I started at 17 years old, broke as a joke, no money at all. What would you do if you went a time machine, you were 17 years old again, living in Gilbert, Arizona with no money? What would you specifically do at that age to become the next Brent Daniels?
Well, it's obviously what I already did because I am Brent Daniels. But I mean, it's just, if you're young and you're out there and this is hitting something in your brain and it's bouncing around, you're kind of like, and this is just a tip that Tom Kroll gave me, Zach, and something that I think you should take to heart is people should either turn you up or turn you off, right? You never want to be lukewarm. You never want to be in the middle. So if this is turning things on in your brain, you're listening to this and you're young, it's very simple. Go out and find the 100 ugliest houses that you can in your area. Okay, the ugliest 100 houses. Get their phone numbers. Get the phone numbers for them at batchskiptracing.com. You can upload an Excel list. They send it back to you with the phone numbers, and then literally just pick up the phone and call them and be polite. You can download the cold calling script at talktopeople.com and know what to say. And then it's just putting in the work there and just start talking to strangers, start getting comfortable with that. None of us are trained on this. We don't go to school for cold calling. We don't go to school for communicating effectively. Read everything you can about different personality types. Read every single day about business and everything. And really, the last piece of that is you need to be around people that are doing this business. You need to be surrounded by people that are making way more money than you. You need to be surrounded by people that are going to be able to answer questions that you might have or give you some of the certainty that you don't feel you have because you haven't done it long enough. You get all those combined. If you're being proactive, if you're listening and putting good things in your brain and reading, and you're around people that are going to uplift you and cheerlead you, I am telling you, you can't lose. It's undefeated. It's flawless.
Thank you so much, Brent. How can people get a hold of you if they want to start talking to people?
Yeah, I mean, talktopeople.com is a great place to start poking around, get into the TTP Insider. It's a free wholesaling course, free downloads, free, all those little things. We try to fill the gaps where we were struggling when, or I was struggling when I was starting out. And so my team puts that all together, puts the stuff that the instruction that I have and makes it look good, puts it in there, and it's free. Download it, check it out. I mean, obviously, at some point, I want to get my hands on you and work with you and have you in the TTP family. But if you just want to stay at arm's length and just do the things for free and go and crush it, go ahead, rock and roll. I do nothing but support you.
Boom. Guys, YouTube, Brent Daniels, TTP. He's on the Wholesale Hotline. He's on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Again, he's a host there. Again, go to the Wholesaling podcast and just search Rick Ginn. Another Flip with Rick guy. He's on there. It's amazing. Go on Instagram right here. Follow him. Get knowledge. Plunge your brain. Get good. Thank you so much, Brent. Any parting thoughts for the guests before we sign off?
Yeah, I like this. And I pulled this out. And I thought that it was really, really interesting. And it's a quote here from this book, Business Secrets from the Bible. So your two goals as a business professional are, number one, to become better at doing hard things that you are not accustomed to doing. And number two, to learn to resist doing things that are easy and often enjoyable. This requires you to retrain yourself because man is not wired this way. We have to make an effort to do the right thing and think the right way. You must be proactive in business and in all areas of your life. And when he's talking about number two, to learn to resist doing things that are easy and often enjoyable, he's talking about Netflix and chill. He's talking about TikToking for 4 hours. He's talking about all these things that are fun and enjoyable, but aren't serving humanity, which is why we're put on this planet. So there you go.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you again. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys.